How we all doing? I think we are live and ready to go. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all that normal stuff, because live production can be finicky sometimes. But I think we should be good. All things look good on my end. And while we're getting ready here, this stream is obviously brought to you by GREYD, and we're talking about GREYD and stuff like that. I'll get into all that. But the first thing that I want to try, I haven't tried this before, so I wanted to throw this by you guys. If you're on YouTube, I just went over into like the production area or whatever, and I added a poll in the chat. So let me know if you did that, if you filled that in or whatever. I was gonna ask just in the chat, but there's a poll feature, so why not use the poll feature? Have you heard of GREYD? Have you heard of GREYD before? Is this your first time? Yes or no? So definitely check that out and record your answer in there because I would love to get that data and know because I feel like there's a lot of things we're gonna be talking about today, and I think that I want to know how much like my typical audience and the people that are watching this like kind of what their thoughts are on that. So I just thought it was a fun little thing to get us going. We got some people live in the chat here. What's up? What's up? What's up? Jessica, what's up? Anne, hello, hello. Regina, Jeremy, what's up? What's up? Nice, sweet, sweet, sweet. All good on audio. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Jeremy says, I visited their site and I still have no clue what it does. That is great feedback. I'm going to note that one because we'll talk about all that. Appreciate you guys. Okay, so here is the deal. Let me give you a little bit of context. Let me give you a little bit of an agenda, and we'll dive right into this stuff. Okay, so quick context. I heard about GREYD. At this point, everything, the last year has been a blur to me, honestly. So it's probably been like maybe like 6-ish months. If you guys have seen, there's a couple like weird little ties across the industry here, so I want to kind of note those just to give you again the context. If you guys have seen Bridge Builders with Maddie Eastwood, myself, and Brendan O'Connell, it's a series that we do over on Maddie's channel. He is from Germany, Maddie is, and he I think was the first person. Him and Brendan probably together were the first people that told me about GREYD. Since then, I've met the team in person out in Portland at WordCamp US. Met a lot of other people. Anne in the chat is an ambassador for GREYD. I know a lot of other people probably watching the stream are kind of GREYD users, perhaps. But the context of it is that GREYD is a German-based company. Great people that work for the team. Been, like I said, been in contact with them and met them in person. And they reached out because their GREYD is, if I can give you the elevator pitch and then we'll get into the actual details, GREYD is like a platform that is based, it's not a page builder, it's not like a Bricks, it's not like an Elementor. It's kind of like, there's an element to it that's a block library, so to speak, and enhancements for the block editor and based in Gutenberg. And that's kind of just the surface because there's a ton of other features that are all wrapped into like the GREYD plugin and the GREYD theme. Jessica in the chat is also on the team. So there's a ton of things that it does, and I think that the part of the issue, and some of these things that I'm talking about are kind of like hypotheses, part of the issue is that when you have so many features, this is one of my hypotheses that I wrote down for what we're going to discover today, is when you have so many features, it is very difficult to create a really good UI and UX to kind of go alongside that because you literally have like so many things that could vary and the way that users could use them, and it's a whole thing. Now, that is to say, I think what they've done so far is a pretty great job. But one of their goals for 2025, they came to me and they said, "Hey, Mark, we really want to spruce up the UI and the UX in 2025, and to do that, we're going to need a lot of feedback." So we partnered up, and this is one of the streams that we're going to be doing here to kind of get. If you're a user of GREYD, it'll be you'll have one perspective. If you're not a user of GREYD, that's probably even a better perspective. So that's a big thing that I ask of you is if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts as I go through the whole platform and kind of give you like an idea of what it's like to build in it. I am honestly, I've used GREYD a little bit here and there. I've seen it in action a bunch, but I haven't built any like full sites or anything, to this point, like with it. So it's going to be very explorative, and we're going to be doing this a lot together to kind of see like, okay, well, what's our perspective? And this is the thing about WordPress is like everyone has a different perspective on how they build websites. And GREYD may or may not be for you, but if you are if you're of the mindset that you are a website developer, builder, build it for other people, build websites for other people and anything like that, like, I just think that there's gonna be a lot of perspective that you could give the team, and I'm excited to dive into it. So, yeah, Let me go through the chat here real quick as people continue to pop in. What's up? What's up? How we all doing? How we all doing? Thomas, what's up? Also, forgot to mention that. That's another time. That's another tie to this. Thomas smoked me in Jamie's speed build challenge over on his channel. When I was using bricks and didn't know what half the things I was doing. We had like a vertical navigation menu, and Thomas just ripped through that with GREYD. So it's extremely capable. Just, you know, I was not having a good day that day. So that was awesome. That was fun. But okay, so kind of got a little bit of a lay of the land there, right? We understand kind of the goal of this stream. We want to kind of like, you know, give the GREYD team like feedback and everything like that. Get the understanding of like UI, UX, because there's a lot of opportunity here, and when you guys see this, you know, you're gonna be kind of blown away. So I think the first thing that I want to do is real quickly just kind of give you, because we had a comment in the chat that like went to the website, still don't understand what it is. Fair analysis. The headline here for GREYD is the all-in-one driving force for your WordPress business, right? I know what GREYD does, and I think this isn't going to be an analysis of the whole website, but just off the top, I know what GREYD does, and I think that that's a good headline for somebody that knows what GREYD does. And then you look at the little graphic here, and it kind of gives you a good idea. It's just, again, I think this is one of my hypotheses and one of my themes when I was thinking about this stream is there's going to be a lot of things that we're thinking that if you're depending on what your prior knowledge is, you're going to understand or you're going to be completely lost, because GREYD has so many things built into it. And this goes in line with another one of my hypotheses for the stream is this is a big one. If you are using and enjoy and are knowledgeable in the WordPress core block editor experience, and you're not like a straight up developer person where you're going to like curate your own experience and all that sort of stuff, from what I know right now and what I will show you, my hypothesis is, or my belief currently, is that I have no idea why you wouldn't be using GREYD. The amount of extension and built-in things that it has is kind of unbelievable. And I think, again, we talked about it earlier, like GREYD is a German-based company trying to really break into like the American market, I think, heavily. They already have American clients, but like more so. Like I know there's a ton of people like in my chats and in other people's channels that like there's a real possibility that this is something that could really, you know, change your workflow and everything like that for the better. So yeah, we'll give you a high level on that, and we'll talk about the stuff specifically more with UI and UX. I do also want to say real quick that while we go through this, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things that's like, can GREYD do this or can GREYD do that? I welcome all sorts of questions, everything like that. And if I know the answer, or if any of the team in the chat knows the answer, feel free to answer those. However, what I would say is that, again, for the 18th time, you're going to see a lot of features. And I'm not, you know, in the team meetings, so to speak, but I think that the main goal is how can we improve the current feature set from that UX and UI standpoint. So, you know, again, if you add more features, it's going to add more complexity to that whole thing. So I don't you know, product is difficult, but I think that that's probably, you know, one place that, you know, just something to think about there and kind of go over it. If you're interested, GREYD.io here. I'll drop a link in the chat and everything to go check this out. There we go. And you can download GREYD Suite for free. I mean, there's obviously pricing. We can kind of go over that and everything real quick. But like, you can download it for free and just kind of start playing around with it. The main thing with the pricing from what I've seen here is that it depends obviously on how many websites you want to do and everything like that. And also kind of the feature set. So we'll see a lot of these different things as far as like the site connector and staging sites, and like we're gonna obviously mainly focus on the actual building experience. But yeah, a lot of different things here. You're gonna notice that it's premiumly priced. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what the conversion rate is to USD, or you know you have to do their own conversion depending on where you're at. But it's premiumly priced, and that is the thing that I've always, anytime I've came to this page, whether it was like on stream or just like, you know, in chats with people, that was the thing that like always comes up, because it's not priced at the typical WordPress pricing that you see. And honestly, I'm a fan of it because I think that a lot of stuff is kind of underpriced. And I think that's kind of like, it's a separate conversation that we do not need to get into today, but I think that there's a lot of conversation to be had around that, because again, I know I'm hyping it up, and I'm going to stop hyping it up and just show you, but there's a lot of shit in here. Like, it just, like, seriously, it's kind of crazy. So so let's dive in and let's talk about it. The main thing that I want to do first is I want to show you this. I had this idea. Okay, I have 2 WordPress installs right now. Okay, The first WordPress install is just a blueprint core that I have on my server, and this is what you get if you literally just downloaded WordPress and just installed it. Okay, there's no plugins, there's no nothing. We're not going to go into this because you guys all know what this is, but I actually was like preparing for this, and I'm like, wow, I've been using Bricks so much, and even Elementor on like legacy sites and things like that. And I'm like, I genuinely sometimes forget how little or how, what the settings are that I can do in core with just that. So, and because GREYD kind of sits atop core and has, and just extends it heavily, I wanted to remind myself and remind you guys as we go through this what the actual differences are between like that vanilla version of just basic core and then GREYD. And I also want to do it in kind of real time as we do this. So this over here, which we're not gonna, I'll let you know when we come back to this. I'm actually gonna put it probably over here so I don't get confused because I have the same fave icons. This is just a blueprint core. It's just gonna sit here, and if we have to come back and forth, we will, just for showing kind of the differences. What I have over here at this URL is the demo for GREYD. Now it looks the same exactly right now because I haven't activated the theme or the plugins or anything just yet, because I think it's an important part. I hope the team agrees with this as well. I think it's important for somebody when they come through this experience, they've maybe been sold on GREYD, that maybe they've seen some demos and things like that, or maybe they just went to the website and downloaded it. There is a little bit of an onboarding experience, and I think that is probably the best place to start with some of the UI and UX type things, because as we know in WordPress, a lot of people get dumped into this, and if they don't know WordPress, there's a whole onboarding and just like kind of like indoctrination experience into getting to understand the whole thing. And I think with a product, you kind of need to have obviously your own set of that, and I think there's some good points to talk about there as well. So real quick to the chat, Jessica says 99 euros is about 102 USD. So okay, very similar. Nice. Sits atop core is a nice framing. Yeah, I mean that's kind of, I feel like that's a decent way of doing it. I mean, definitely enhances it. I'm not trying to downplay it all because there's a million things in here. Let's see here. You can change the color of your WordPress dashboard and user settings, mix up the. Okay, cool. Might try to do that there. Oh, nice. I didn't even know that. I'm learning things on the stream. Thank you, Anne. Appreciate that. Okay, cool. Let me check my notes here real quick. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, so let's just dive into this, shall we? All right, the first thing I'm going to do, I already have it installed, but I don't have it activated. Don't worry about main WP. That's just from my server stuff that I have, my blueprint. We have the GREYD plugin. We have GREYD.forms. I'm going to show you all the stuff, so I'm just going to activate this plugin. We're just going to walk through this together. Okay, so if you went over to GREYD.io and you downloaded this, presumably you're going to get the plugin and you're going to be able to do all this sort of stuff. There is going to be some level of, a little bit of a difference if you go that route, because I'm 99% sure I have like all the features in order to test out and do everything here. We're mainly going to be focused on like the core offerings though. I'm going to hit on a couple of the big features, but the core offering of like building and stuff is kind of where we really want to be. There is going to be at least some reading along in this stream, because I really think there's one point that I wanted to make here, and it's that GREYD again is a German-based company moving heavily into the American market now. And one of my hypotheses is that there may be some semantic, not necessarily in the code, but semantic, we'll call it like confusion, so to speak, where like if you're used to a Bricks, or if you're used to, and this is across the board in WordPress, this is not a great thing, but like if you're used to Bricks, if you're used to Elementor, or even like standard core or whatever, there may be ways that GREYD, or like, settings or whatever, that GREYD has labeled something that it's like you look at it at first and you're like, is that what I think it is? And then you have to like double check, so to speak, if you know what I mean. That's pretty typical across software in general, but it's definite in WordPress. So if we see any of those, you guys write them in the chat and I'll let you know here. So I kind of just want to like skim some stuff just to kind of see like if it's making sense, like fully and everything like that, just so we can give as good feedback as possible. Okay, so welcome to GREYD, the all-in-one business driving force. Okay, so we already read that one on the homepage. GREYD Suite is a comprehensive platform to scale your business and build web empire out of your dream. Welcome to your freelancer. Okay, that's the other thing too, is as far as the way that GREYD is like kind of marketed and pitched, it's freelancer, agency, or large corporation. I'll hit on the large corporation thing specifically because I've gotten some really good examples from the team that this could really be awesome for. So this is the onboarding. Install your required tools, set up your features, install a child theme, ready to thrive. Just a couple simple steps. Okay, so get started. Okay, so I was doing this like right before we went live. And I was thinking, there's a couple pieces of this, right? So there's the GREYD theme, which in WordPress we're kind of all familiar with, like the concept of a theme. Everybody might do it a little bit differently, but that's something. So what do we want to install? So speed meets precision, craft lightning fast websites with using the site editor. You don't need, and I don't know if we really want to tackle this today. If we want to do this today, we can. You don't need to use the theme, but for the the point of this video, I think we're going to. It's just going to make the most sense if like the first way we tackle this is like all in one, because again, I think of it as I'm trying to inject like a lot of the things that I've done and thought of. Like if I also put my let me put my face over here real quick so you can kind of see more of this. If I'm thinking in my mind, like as an agency owner, as somebody that builds websites for a lot of people, which if you're using GREYD, you probably are. I'm trying to think that you most likely would want to have the most concise stack that you'd like possible, and for everything to just work together, right? And that's why I always like, no matter what builder I was ever using or anything, I always tried to use the thing that they built at least first. If I came into a limitation, then I might have to pivot. But I think that's the reason why, like, I'm just going to install the required things, because I feel like that is, the most important way to do this. Or the easiest way, at least at first, especially if you're getting into it. Okay, so the GREYD theme, the GREYD forms plugin, we're going to talk about forms. So effortless forms, seamless design, create versatile forms. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. And then GREYD global content plugin, synchronize content and elements on any number of websites. If you read that line and you build multiple websites, you're going to immediately be like, okay, that kind of that's very interesting. Now it says license needed, but I think I might already have that in there. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll just see what happens. Okay. So select features, default setup, features that you need in almost every website, dynamic templates, custom post types, meta fields, pop-ups, and more. Okay, we're definitely going to use some of that. Get the full power of the suite. Now, okay, this is the first thing that I would just say is kind of like interesting to me. That makes sense. I don't know. I can't think of a great way to do this, but I feel like just in the onboarding experience here, this is why I wanted to go through this, get all the features or strip down like blocks and hub. Depending, I feel like, on who you are, maybe you know what like just the blocks and the hub are, but maybe, I don't know if there's a better way to necessarily do this. It ultimately, you could turn stuff on and off, so it's whatever. I just feel like if we're going to have this step in here, maybe a little bit more descriptive on kind of like what you're getting. All the features, I guess, is relatively descriptive, but I don't know. For me, somebody that like knows what GREYD is enough to know what these things are, I still feel like we could be like a little bit more. For the sake of this video, I'll throw in all the features. And then we'll, kind of like deactivate as we need to, but we're probably going to go through most of it anyway. Okay, cool. So we do that. And then we got a couple other extra things here. So view your homepage, create a child theme. Interesting. Okay, we should probably do that because that's probably how I would do this. Activate license. I think it might already be active, but if we do, I can do that on the side. GREYD help center, and then edit your site. Okay. Yeah, as far as like just random little feedback here, I would say like this is pretty solid. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would want to do. Yeah, I don't know. It really depends, because like, I mean, you have to be like, if you're doing onboarding, you almost want to be like kind of, I feel like, opinionated in a way. So I don't know if I was doing it like maybe child theme, I would almost like make them do that. Not necessarily make them, but like really like enforce that to a degree. Help center. It's good to have all these other links. The one thing that's kind of like throwing me, I think, is that I'm having to scroll to see all the different things that might happen. I'm not, but this is a very this is exploratory. So, and then also edit site. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I don't want to extend the onboarding, and I don't want to get caught up in the onboarding here, but I don't know. I don't necessarily want to extend that, but I think that there might be like a little bit room for just my opinion, like, because like I'm gonna have to activate my license, right? I think, unless it's already active. I don't know. Just some little things, maybe even some like dynamic stuff, like conditionally, like if it's already active somehow, then I don't see that. I don't know. Just random things. Just trying to not forget anything. What I do want to do real quick is let's click activate child theme. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. I didn't have to do anything. I just clicked the button. Okay, I thought I was definitely going to have to go somewhere else. I'm glad I clicked that. Help center, I'm just assume is going to take us over there. Let's click edit site. Now was that in the same tab? Okay, that was in the same tab. Okay. Okay. So that makes sense to me because I know what I'm doing, but I also feel like I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of this from all angles. I'm trying to think of this, especially as like a bricks user or somebody that's not like heavily into that. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to get like thrown off with the onboarding, but those are just my opinions on that. And then with this, so we're in full site editing now, right? And that is like technically editing your site and doing all that. But I feel like I would have to know. I would have to know because again, I'm thinking from the perspective of page builder land. I would have to know like you'd almost honestly, I would probably this is a little much, but I'm giving you everything. I would honestly potentially make multiple onboarding flows for people that are like ask a question and then change a little bit of the onboarding flow. Like, are you more familiar with like one of those things where it's like, how familiar are you with like the core editing experience in WordPress, and be like beginner, intermediate, I know what I'm doing, or something like that. And if they say they know what they're doing, then you could do something like this. But if they don't, then I think that this might kind of confuse them. But it's really going to depend on like very person to person. I just feel like I was kind of like, I know where I'm at, but I feel like I was a little bit dumped there, would be my kind of my initial thought. Let's come back to that though, and come back to kind of like here, because this is the perfect spot to kind of do a little bit of our first comparison here. So again, core experience. Maybe I have to zoom in. Maybe I have to move my face a little bit. I could definitely do all that. I think we're okay. We're okay for now, but let me know if I need to move my face or anything on this stream. I want to make sure you zoomed in and you can see everything. Okay, so blueprint, this is our core experience, right? Again, what we see over here. So as soon as we click here, we see a couple of different things, right? We see now templates, forms, grade suite, global content, and then also down here in settings, which you can't see. Where am I going to put my face? Let me just do a little smaller. There we go. Okay. So then you see this, and then down here in settings, which you still can't see, is there's a grade suite. There's a grade suite settings page. So my point here is that, again, from a usability standpoint on the admin side, just diving into this, would I know what these things are? I'm going to be honest with you. I think that we're going to have to see how everything else shakes out here, because I have a ton of ideas from other things that I've seen in the WordPress space. I don't know. I'm sure you have like a heavy amount of options that you can do from the dev side on how to like change this and everything like that. Personally, templates and forms kind of make sense. I don't know if I'm fully using GREYD. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be using that many other plugins, so this might make sense. But I would love to see kind of a little bit more consistency potentially on knowing which one of these things are GREYD. Like even if you just turned, like you got this whole little gold thing going on, even if you turned these two gold, just so I knew that those were GREYD, I feel like that might be like just like a super small win on the UI UX type of side, just from the first thing we're seeing here. And then again, like even in appearance, so again with WordPress, like everything is different every time you install something. So themes and editor, right? And then appearance, you have themes editor, GREYD theme, customize theme assets. There's a million things. Okay, so I don't want to get caught up on all of it, but let's go to the next thing on my list was looking at these features. So I want to go to this page right here because this is the best place to see this. If you're not familiar with GREYD, this is the time to like understand kind of like what's going on. And there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, so there's the GREYD hub, there's dynamic templates, post types, pop-ups, site connector, template library, query features, advanced search, accessibility, deactivate comment. I mean, there's like a ton of things in here, right? There's even like an SMTP extension that's behind my face on this screen. So there's a lot of things, and just think about right now, think about how hard it is to actually do the UX and UI for all this. Think about how many features are wrapped up in this, and think about all of the plugins that are being replaced by just this set of features in GREYD right now. So that's a huge thing to consider as we kind of look through this, and I'll go through the big ones. Again, I definitely want to talk about my kind of agenda here as we go through and we start diving into some of the actual building and stuff is I wanted to give you the overview of the UI. We're almost there on that. I want to give you global styling because like I want to build like an actual like mini little couple websites or whatever. Global styling, build/import simple sections, build and import a simple form, create data structures, which is like, the custom post types and everything like that in the admin area. And then I also want to try to do, assuming I set the other stuff up, I want to do like one of the 6-month tests where, we build it today, so to speak, and then in 6 months, somebody comes back and says, hey, your client comes back and says, hey, we're changing our font, we're changing our, primary color and stuff like that. I want to kind of like move through that. A lot of that is going to be exploratory, but I think that, there should be a good amount of control that we have over those types of things. Okay, so again, there's crazy. There's an amazing amount of stuff here. I do want to highlight just like a couple little like small things that I was seeing as I was preparing as well. If you go to like templates, obviously that was brought in via GREYD. There's always like, there's like kind of, if you're used to the bricks, you see the yellow button. There's like a black button for GREYD template library, like in a lot of different places. There's create templates. There's an import button in a lot of different places. There's an import button in the media library and everything. I'm going to have to assume, and the team can tell me for sure, is that I think that's like importing like a whole library or like more of library or something like that. The thing you have to understand, and probably where we should just start real quick at a high level, is that this hub situation is really for people that have a ton of different websites and want to manage their websites, like all of their GREYD websites or whatever, like across, like different servers or anything like that. Like you can connect all of them kind of like that. So if we go to settings, I believe, or GREYD suite, and then if we go to, also want to look at global content here real quick. These are things that you could use across all of your different, websites, right? So if you go to GREYD Hub, you can see right now, this is the one that I have, demo-grade.mjsdev.net. This is our website here. Like we can download it, we can import a new website, download the content, whatever. But I could like add another one, and I am not 100% sure. Somebody could let me know how this is how it ends up being connected. I don't know if it's just on the same license or something like that. But my point is, like, I could have like many different other websites here, like all kind of connected. So I liken that. I just have to use, kind of like some, I'm blanking on the word right now. I have to use like some sort of thing to be like, oh, this is like that, or this could potentially take the place of that. To me, this is kind of like a main WP type situation. Obviously, main WP has its own set of features, but like somewhere where I could go and I could see all the different websites that I have that I'm using on, that are all related and all connected and could have all the same thing. So I think like one example here is when, if you had like a franchisee model as an example, you could have like a ton of different websites for all of your different, people. Like you could be like the main, like franchisor, so to speak, or like you're the main controller of all those. And there's a ton of different things that are all related on all those different pieces. And then you could just have content that's like basically usable throughout. So that's like one example of that type of thing. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so if we want to, actually, let me go to the chat here real quick. Dave Bell says, the reason you're confused here is because FSC is a horror show. I've used FSC on other streams, like in the core experience. And I think that we're going to see kind of the way that GREYD does I think GREYD obviously has to play within the confines of FSC, but I think that the block editor piece, I think there's a lot of really cool things that they've been able to do. David says, query features shouldn't even be an option to disable. I don't know. I don't necessarily disagree with that because I use queries for everything, but I think that there's a lot of people out there that are doing that stuff. Jacob, isn't deactivating features just deactivate the GREYD extension? Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point to mention too. Let's go back to that here real quick. And these are all GREYD things, obviously. Like we're not like it's kind of, I describe it a little bit so far as like a layer atop the core experience, and we'll see that in a second. And these are all like GREYD modules. Now I will also throw in a little bit of a hypothesis here that can either be proven or disproven when we go in here. There are a lot of things. This is my one issue that I'm going to have, and I want to show it side by side with core. This is my one issue with anything that I've seen, not just GREYD, inside or atop the block editor like that, is that I don't know what is what sometimes. And I think GREYD does a decent job of doing that in certain ways, but I think that that's always a struggle because there's like these native blocks and then there's blocks that were created by either, whatever block library you have or anything like that. And I think that that's a really important thing. maybe if you ever want to change, but more specifically, just so you kind of know what's going on, right? Or really, if there's ever an issue, who to call too. You know what I mean? Like is this a core issue? Is this a grade issue? Like, it's just that type of thing. I think is really important. Jessica says you can export any content and post types like a post, a page. The export link is where the quick links are. The export can be imported on other site again without having to rebuild stuff. Love that. In a multi-site, you would now automatically see all your core sites if you go to the connections tab and also add sites of other installations. Love that. Love that. A lot of interconnectivity. Can't really show it all in this stream, but I think that that's like a huge hallmark of everything that GREYD kind of does and has built here. All right, so let's dive in. Let's dive in, shall we? All right, so on my thing, I have like the idea of like global styling. Again, like I said, building and importing and everything like that. So let's kind of dive in here. Let's just see like, let's just start simple, right? Let's just start simple. Let's go to like a home page. Now, okay, so the first thing you're going to see here is you're going to see when you go to like create a home page, you're going to see choose a pattern, right? Now, there's a couple different things here. So we got about, blog, page content. Now, my first question is, are these, I know a lot of this is like kind of core driven in a way. I'm wondering how much of this is, am I looking at templates right now effectively? Like these are patterns, so they're like templates in that regard. Is this all of them that we have? Is it somehow, like I see also like page about, page blog, page context. So like if I go page about, so now we have this here. So if we press save, also I want to kind of go out here and kind of get a look at what we're kind of looking at here. Also, we are zoomed in, so it might look a little weird. Okay. So, I mean, okay, again, that quick, I was able to get something. That's good for, anybody that's trying to build fast. Okay, now what exactly, I got too many tabs open here now, apologies. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. There we go. Okay, so we're back in this home experience here within the builder. And again, this is one of those things where if you're not a core block editor type person, then it's going to be kind of an interesting experience for you, So I don't have a staunch thought process on that. I don't know why those were shut. It was probably a me issue just on my install, but those were shut. Okay, so I do really think this is an important time to go do this though, because again, I need to refresh my memory on this. And if we go to add page blueprint, okay, so all I did over here was click add new page, right? And I got these patterns. This is a different install. This is just 2025 installed, right? So these are all like the patterns from there. What I want to do real quick is I want to come back over and I want to just do the exact same thing in GREYD. And, okay, it's a similar experience. So this is a new page over here in GREYD, new page over there. It's kind of a core similar type of experience. It's going to show you the patterns that are there and you can pick one. You can do whatever you want. Okay, so for instance, let's just do this one again. All right. So if we're back over here, is this going to let me do this again? Yeah, cool. All right, so whatever. Let's just do this as an example. So I'm just going back and forth to kind of get an approach and get a feel for it. Let me just publish this thing over here real quick and just kind of like Let me get that out of there. Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. I mean, again, I don't know if we can get more patterns necessarily, or if there's something there. Let's take a look at what these actually. Let's take a look at what like these different blocks are. Okay, okay, there we go. Okay, so we have a bunch. This is pre-built, so we obviously have groups and different things like that. If we have title, I mainly want to see a couple things. The first thing we're going to look at here is all of our different blocks that we have. Now, again, I have to do it like this because this is especially for people that are like barely into the block editor. They're going to definitely want to know what the difference is between these different like types of tooling and things like that. Why don't I let's move my face again, potentially, and put it in the middle would be interesting. The middle is great. That seems fun. Okay, so if we have our main core experience here, and then we have our GREYD experience here, the big difference is there's a whole section in here called GREYD, and these are all GREYD like custom blocks that you could like just throw in and do different things. There's text, media, design, widgets. I'm pretty sure those are all standard. I think if we're seeing, is there anything extra in maybe theme perhaps? No, I don't think so. There might be something extra, but mostly it's the grade blocks, right? So it's going to be the grade blocks, and then it's going to be obviously a ton of extra like styling settings and different things like that that you can do. So I'm wondering also, I think let's go into heading for a second. So like we just have a standard like heading over here, and if we have a standard, that's a paragraph. Where the hell's a heading? Let me just throw a heading in. What does it matter? Okay, so we have heading over here. I'm trying to see the big differences, and because everybody complains about the core block editing experience, so I'm trying to see like what the main differences would be. And I'm looking over here on the right side. So I'm looking number of text lines. I'm looking, okay, colors, backgrounds, typography. Let me just, yeah. I mean, it's pretty. There's definitely some text lines. Okay, so this doesn't exist obviously in the core editing experience. Some of this here, like animations and things like that. Okay. Let's see what other kinds of, and I'm probably going to mess this page up a little bit just to kind of see a little bit of these things. There's post sliders, there's live search, there's accordions, popovers. There's just a ton of things. So I'm trying to think of if I was a newer user to this. And again, it's tough because you don't know where the people are actually coming from, so to speak. You don't know if they're coming from a page building experience or if they're coming from a core experience. I'm gonna be honest, like if they're coming from a page builder experience, you almost need to educate them on core even before you educate them on the blocks that you have. And there's another thing too, is I wanted to kind of show, like if we go and we add in a native block, right? This isn't just I think the vision and the philosophy of GREYD is that they're not just adding blocks, like obviously there's a ton of blocks up here that like don't exist, but I'm pretty sure we're even enhancing core blocks if I'm not mistaken to a degree, right? Like we have like animation here, but I don't think we would have animation on a different thing. Yeah, this is quite limited compared to that. Okay, so but again, I just want to. This is cool stuff that we're adding over here. But to me, it's a little confusing. This is a UX UI. This is a big UX UI thought that I have. If we're gonna add these, if we're gonna add like text things that are like within the core experience already, if I'm trying to think if like maybe I have legacy sites and maybe I have 20 legacy sites and they were all built on core, and now I'm switching GREYD. I'm like, GREYD is amazing, but I still have these other ones. I'm gonna get confused if like I drop in a paragraph and I don't realize that like certain settings in that paragraph, even though that was a core block, certain settings in the paragraph are not, because I'm gonna think like, oh wait, did core add animations? You know what I mean? So I feel like again, like a little tag or something, or like just change the color of the ones that are anything that's not core specific. Again, the gold idea is like something that I had from that admin section. I really think that that's kind of a thing where people need to know what the differences are in that case. And obviously also we have like responsive controls and everything like that. That's dope. I don't know. To me, it's just like, I understand what we're doing here, but I wouldn't want, it's almost like I want to make sure that like as GREYD, I would want to make sure that like we're kind of, not, this is going to sound ridiculous, but not like getting credit for these features. It's not necessarily that, but just make sure that the user knows that like, hey, this thing is not going to be here if you uninstall like GREYD. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Maybe it stays. I'm gonna need clarification on that. But I know if I uninstall the GREYD plugin, I'm not gonna have the curated experience that I currently have, even with core blocks, let alone obviously all these ones up here. So I think something needs kind of done there a little bit, where just to kind of like delineate like where the lines in the sand are on certain things. I think that's kind of an important a piece of it. Let's take a look at like a button real quick. So small, default, big, with icon. I'm going to also tackle the elephant in the room here. So while we're doing this, right, because I really want to do the global styling concept, but I just wanted to kind of get the feet wet with some of this. Like, where are we? So we have additional CSS classes, which is, I think, similar to how like the core experience is, but also like I know other core block libraries and builders and core building systems have different ways of doing things now, where there is, like it's more class based, like kind of like literally almost at the top. I'm wondering how much of that is kind of present here. And again, somebody moves from like a bricks as an example to this. What is how jarring of an experience is some of that? So we can generate, okay, so we can generate new class styles. Interesting. CSS animations. Oh, that's cool. You can play the animation. I like that. We can hide on different things. Okay. Okay, we're gonna have to dive into the. I think the best way to do this is probably to start with that global styling when we kind of get into the styles pieces, because I think that there's gonna be too much. Yeah. I just feel like there's a lot, there's just so much here, and I just don't know if like it's I feel like it's slightly unfortunate because the way that the block editor kind of lays this out, I don't feel like is extremely, it's not familiar to me, so I'm trying to give it like the benefit of the doubt, but it's not, it just doesn't feel like overly intuitive. And that's not really a knock on the GREYD product. It's just something that they're dealing, like everyone's dealing with in this space here. So yeah, let me see here. Let me go over to the chat here real quick. Jessica says you're in the block editor, so those are patterns. Yep. This pricing is very confident. Great. I will continue to choose bricks. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean it's definitely. I barely scratched the surface here of what we're doing. We're just in the builder part, so I think there's a ton of other things that definitely play into the pricing. Naming is hard in WordPress. I have to be careful what I say. Yeah, 100%, 100%. It goes away. Gotcha. Exactly. Being able to identify GREYD or specific blocks or properties is a question almost every starting user I know with GREYD has. Yeah, that's the thing is like if it's, they're going to go away. So like you definitely want to, I think there's definitely a big opportunity there to kind of do that. Okay. Let's go to, and you guys might need to help me. Like if I was, because again, I feel like I am literally kind of a new user of it. So if I was back here, well, that was another thing too, is if we go to the global styling, is that going to be in the FSE situation? I feel like that's probably going to be where we're at, right? So we're going to want to go like GREYD theme here potentially. There's a ton of cool things. So like open global styles. That was relatively straightforward. I'm clicking. There we go. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so GREYD styles. Okay, so again, will classify me as a noob, but let's do this again. So I went to appearance, where if I know a little bit about WordPress, then I'm probably going to assume like, okay, that's kind of where I would want to go. But at the same time, if they're not familiar with like FSE or like kind of how that works, maybe not exactly going to know kind of what to do or where to go there. So if we go to GREYD theme, because there's a lot of things here, we should probably go through each one of these kind of like slightly independently. Let me, whatever, we'll publish this. So we have something. Let's go here. This is an important part because I probably should have started here potentially, but I did want to dive into a little bit of that block stuff first, because just to get a feel for it. If you're doing it kind of like as responsible as you could possibly do it, you'd probably want to like have something from the client and be like, okay, these are going to be our colors and our standard stuff here, and then kind of like dive into it, I would assume, right? So if you're going to set some of that up, you're going to probably go to appearance. Let's assume that they know to go there. There's themes. That's just going to be our standard stuff there. We have the child, which is really, again, I really love that one-click thing. I think we should. It was confusing that it was one click, but it was awesome that it was one click, if that makes sense. The editor is going to be full site editor. I mean, I know this thing is called editor. This might be a WordPress issue. I'm trying to just not, I'm trying to like be specific in where I'm giving the thoughts, but I don't know. That should just be called full site editor or something. I don't know, but that's probably a WordPress problem. Okay, so like GREYD theme. I honestly, for this, that's fine, but I feel like it should be maybe like options or something potentially, like GREYD theme options or GREYD theme something. I don't know. It makes sense. Okay, so we're in the GREYD theme again. Global styles template editor. Is this going to take us to editor? Okay, There's a lot of ways to get to the same thing, and I understand why we're doing it. It's just there's a lot of things. Okay, so open global styles and then grade global styles, additional global styles and responsive options. Okay, that is definitely at least a little confusing. Over here, I'm jumping around a little, sorry, but this is the customizer, which do we need do we need this? Is this the way that all this is a me problem? Is this the way that all themes are still doing it? Do we need this? Can we I don't know. I don't know the technical piece of this. Do we need this would be my question, though, because there's not a lot here, and it is taken up like a thing for somebody else to click on and potentially get annoyed by that they come here and do this. Are we able to set these settings anywhere else or disable the customizer at this point in WordPress time? If not, then I get it. But you know, if we have control of everything else, then I would say that like that's largely probably not needed, because I don't know. Again, if I have the theme and the plugin and everything for my product here, then I would probably want to try to control everything as much as possible. So that would be another bit of feedback. I'm coming back to the grade theme thing, but the theme assets is kind of cool. Okay. Let's think about theme assets here. So custom styles here, navigation. Let's go in here. Okay. So template part pattern, navigation goals. I'm going to have to really look at this, I feel like, right? So like we have navigation, we have styles. This is all core stuff, effectively, to a degree, right? But I'm wondering like how there's just a lot of stuff in a lot of different places is the vibe I'm getting right now. And then FSE converter, transfer your old classic grade suite setup in the okay, so this is specific. This is really specific. This is extremely simple or extremely specific use case here that most people aren't going to need if they start now, right? If I'm understanding correctly. Maybe you guys help me. Like, can you even use grade without FSE anymore? Is that something that anybody would need if they started now and then had this later? So if that's the case, I would almost like tuck this somewhere else, because that's not going to get used by most people, if I'm understanding that correctly. Would be something that I would consider there. And then we got to come back to this. Let me just get rid of this stuff here real quick. Let me go to the chat, because I'm sure I'm being corrected on some of these things. Global styles are in the site editor. You'll find global styles inside the site editor, separate icon. Okay, gotcha. Users are going to walk around like this, so it's natural. Yep, gotcha. Editor is WP core, so there's not much grade can do, unfortunately. No, you didn't need the customizer anymore. Okay, customizer can go. Gotcha. Customizer was ditch like a toxic. It's funny. It is, but it's very useful. Many come from classic themes. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. FSE is the converter from old grade suite classic theme. Yeah, I gotcha. I just, like I said, I just feel like if you're gonna have like a lot of newer people, they might not really need to see that per se, like at least right there. But I totally feel you. Okay, so let's talk about these global styles. So I'm in the theme, and assuming I kind of again know what I'm slightly doing to like in the scope of like building, I'm gonna want to set up some stuff, right? So global styles and then open grade global styles. Right away, I see what we're doing here, but I want to see what the difference is. So I'm gonna open global styles, and I'm gonna open these. So this again, if I don't know what control we have here, but and I'm not sure why this thing isn't popping out. I feel like I don't know why. I need to pin that or something. But that to me was a little confusing. Well, actually, this is interesting. So this popped out for me, and again, it might be a little different depending on the install. But this popped out just like this, and then this one was with the grade styles out like this. So okay. I mean, I get what I guess I understand. So like, welcome to styles. Like this just, I feel like somewhere this does pop up. Maybe it's in full site editing when it pops up like that. Not 100%. But these are grade styles. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I see what's happening here. It's all in the same place. It's all kind of extra, but build your own theme for like with these. This is the core experience. This is the core styles. Like that's this little button up here. This is the grade styles. Grade editor helper. That's cool. Let me get rid of this. Let me go here. Font families, font sizes, buttons, input field spacing, grid. Okay. Now, my question right off the bat is any of this overlapping? Let's see if we can do an example. Keller's button yellow. Okay, so that was the text. So if I change my buttons to red, I am in what I'm assuming here, I'm almost certain, is the core styling thing. And I just changed my button background to red. That's dope. I should probably move my face again because it's kind of in the way, but that's fine, whatever. Ruben says breakdance is the best with $2 super chat. I appreciate the $2. Thank you, Ruben. Our resident breakdancer. Thank you, sir. So I changed these button colors, right? Now let me go back over here. Now I have buttons over here too. This is grade styles. Okay, so am I gonna get? I see typography here. Primary button. Keller. Didn't change. How? I understand. I think technically what's going on here, but I don't understand how. Is there a way around this? Or was that a border? That was a border. My bad. Okay, that worked. Hang on a second. That was my bad. My bad. Down here. Okay, at this point, I'm definitely confused, though. Because it feels like I have, like, fallback. Is it, like, fallback global classes, the way that this is working? Or not classes, but styles over here. And then... God damn it, I keep clicking the wrong thing because I think it's the... I'm also, what happened up here? Grade styles. Okay, that's interesting. Grade global styles encountered a problem. Let me go back up here. Let me go to the right one this time because I keep thinking that I'm gonna... let's do a color that's not been used. See, this... I don't know if this is a known issue or I'm just doing some weird shit here. You guys let me know. But like this is something that I'm like thinking about, and I'm thinking all I would want as a user is I would want a way to change these things. And I get I'm not criticizing because I understand the struggle that we're facing here, but I'm trying to understand why we would have overlapping Keller background like for something like for something like this. Okay, so in that case, though, it didn't change. All right, so somebody's going to tell me how this works, I'm sure. Here, let me see. FSC convert. Okay, we talked about that one. Derek says bricks is the best. Half Moon Shadow is core. Gotcha. Ruben is frustrated, buddy. David said, "What's up? What's up? How you doing, man?" Core has catched up. Previously, many things were not possible, so that. And then user one says, does this count? This is grade. Yes, we're playing with grade here. Okay, so still kind of confused on that from a usability standpoint. Let me reload this bad boy and see what we got. I mean, it could be. Very well. Let's try to do this all in one tab. It's because I think I'm being a little disingenuous here, right? So let's try to do this and let's save this real quick. Maybe there was an issue there. So let's do. I want to set this. I want to make this primary button. Also, there's somewhere in here we got to be setting this to primary, right? Like somewhere, this would have been primary. Did we save primary somewhere? Obviously, this was a template, but I'm trying to like understand that process. All right, so styles, let's go back to this one more time. So button, I want to make a red button. Damn it, every time with this text, I swear to God. There we go. All right, so red button, cool. That was global styling, core styling though. That's what that was. Now, if I'm gonna go over to the grade styles, and I'd be messing around in here because there's probably more settings for sure over here, I'm sure. So button, primary, colors. I actually, like I'd be confused at this point. Why is my background not say this? And now I want to make it orange. And now it didn't change. So is it I'm just confused on that. But maybe this is not a primary button? Is that fair to say? What do we got? Jacob says, why overlapping? Because the core global styles only tackles the core button block, but a normal website has a lot more buttons, inputs, navigation, ships, and more. Yep. Derek. Is Mark saying Keller instead of color? Or is it me having hearing issues? I'm from Pittsburgh, so I don't know. I try not to have too much Pittsburghese, but maybe sometimes it comes out. I don't know. Keller. I don't know. Brennan has a great question. What's the origin of the name GREYD? That's a good one. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm just kind of like, I feel like that's a little confusing, but I see what we're talking about. I think maybe what we could try to do here is, just so I can get a better understanding, is like if we go to, what am I clicking here? If we go to buttons, oh, okay, so we have grade buttons, and then let's see here. Okay, why does that keep happening? Not sure what that is. Let's save this, save it, whatever, and then come out here and then be like, so now again, a little bit of this is education. Are we saying that this is buttons? This is a core button experience. Also, where am I seeing the thing that I'm struggling with here, it's a me issue, is where do we set this button as primary or secondary or whatever? Is that a different block, or are we just setting it somewhere small? I see this. These are icons. I love that. Outline, alternate. Oh, wait. Clear, alternate button. Interesting. Fill, outline. The red background is global for the core buttons. The orange you change for the grade buttons. Okay. All right. Yeah, that seems a little confusing, but so we have design, we have buttons, and then we have grade buttons here. Gotcha. So if I was a user and I wanted to add a button, all right, we're gonna have to tackle this because this is a really important part. All right, so let's do. Can I just add these all like up here? Can I just like make another group or something? Let me just group this. Probably could have just slashed or did something weird, but let's see. Let's do this, and then let's go back up here to button, and let's go. Interesting. We have buttons and we have grade buttons. So we're saying buttons is the regular buttons, and then grade buttons is the other, like, what the, is the, get out of here, dude. Let me get back to this. Yeah. Dude, this damn structure panel, that's not a grade thing. Really confused on the button situation, so I want to tackle it because everybody is going to be confused on the button situation. Let's see. Okay, so this is helpful. All right, I see. Okay, so we have this button, and then we have a grade button. I gotcha. Okay, cool. Okay, well, I would need to be convinced. I see what we're doing. I see it. I gotcha. Okay, I would need to be convinced that both of these are necessary. Is there a reason that we would need to have both? Can you, I don't know the answer to this question. Can you, like, by default turn off core buttons? It's probably a bad idea, I'm sure. Is there a way to extend core buttons so you don't have to have two buttons? I mean, I get it. I don't know if what I'm asking is possible, but I just feel like that's like a very stereotypical thing that people are going to be like confused as hell about. But I mean, I get it. I get it. It's just like additional global styles and responsive options for grade stuff. I'm assuming now that I'm understanding this is grade global styles, and these are global styles that are like for basically anything. But my next question is, because like I'm a really weird dude, like is if I change global styles, if I change the core global styles, is there anything that is a part of is there anything that's a part of the global styling core experience that GREYD is gonna like inherent from, like GREYD stuff would inherent from, or do I have to change everything twice? I'm thinking again from like maintainability and stuff, and it's like I don't want to have to remember what I used where. Maybe I could just myself like kind of remember, but to me that's just something that is, I don't know, just kind of like slightly concerning. You can turn off the core buttons, but only per user in the site editor preferences. Ah, I gotcha. Okay. Yes, from a technical perspective, a core button is essentially only a link. A grade button can open a popover, send an email, trigger JavaScript, and invent more. Okay. Okay, so if I was a grade user, is there any reason for me to use a regular button, a non-grade button? Let me ask it a different way. Can a grade button do everything that a regular core button can and more? If the answer to that question is yes, then I feel like then I feel like the answer, like we should almost like tell the user like, hey, certain things here like kind of do are like our stuff is way better than normal stuff. You should probably just like go turn this off if you can't do it yourself. You know, like if you can't like kind of force them to do that. I don't know. I don't know if that's what, is, I don't know if that's a great idea, but I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Because again, somebody like me, I'm gonna go to my styles and I'm gonna be like, oh, I want to change this and that, and then I'm not gonna realize that that is okay. And also, is this the only instance that that's like that? Is there any other is there any other ones? Is there any other things that are like buttons where there's overlap in that regard? Because I just found that one serendipitously. Also, is my grade thing gone? Is that from that little error we were having here? Let me see. Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why I'm getting that. I don't know if that's a me thing or whatever, but sometimes this thing says it's failed to render. Um, okay, so again, font families. See, like that seems like something that's pretty. And I mean, again, this isn't a grade specific issue. I'm just trying to think of how to solve these issues in general. Like, I mean, again, I'll just quickly go to bricks. Like, there's, if you have like a framework like ACSS, you're setting things there, and you also could set things in bricks. But it's like kind of like opinionated to the point where like if you use one, then you don't have to necessarily use the other one. Like, there's very few things that you'd actually ever have to go back and forth with. So I'm just thinking like if GREYD could do that, or maybe it's on that track and I'm just not fully there yet. Like that's kind of, I feel like if I'm a WordPress user and I want and use GREYD, then I feel like I want to go into that realm as much as possible and not have to deal with another system, which again is just the headache of WordPress in general. But just some thoughts. Okay. So font families. Okay. Actually, let me go back to that for a second because define up to 3 font families for your website. Reference them from within your blocks or declare them as defaults for headlines, buttons, using more of the style editors. Okay. And a layperson would be going over here to typography, and I keep doing that, and I keep getting this. I don't know what that is. Body font, heading font, highlight font. This is the core. So how does this interact with it? I mean, we could stop talking about this if this isn't helpful, but I think that I just still think that there's like a lot of seemingly a lot of overlap to an average user, and they might get, until they really understand it, they might get confused, which is fine if it's a limitation, so to speak, of what we're doing there. Then it's fine, but it's like something that needs kind of, I feel like, kind of fleshed out a little bit, because if you're it either needs fleshed out if it can be like concise, like made more concise, or it needs to be like look, you almost need to prep them. I would almost love to see, like, I don't know if I missed it somewhere, but I would love to see like quick video or quick thing. It's like, listen, this is built atop Gutenberg core experience. We're always like getting better, and we're always like adding more things in, and like kind of like really even technically GREYD, I think, is taking things away as core puts them in. I think that's so they turn that off. But I think that is, I would almost prime your users to be like, hey, there's certain things like buttons that are kind of like there's the core experience, and then there's our experience, and like our experience is fundamentally better. So like maybe go turn the core shit off like right now, or like maybe like don't use the core stuff. I just didn't obviously know to do that, so I was like kind of like seeing that. Yeah, just trying to think how a standard typical user is going to do this. Obviously, then you get to something like this, right? With spacing, this is way better, I'm sure, than the core experience, like with all the different units and things that you can have here. But again, my question is like, how much how much overlaps here? So I just like, what are we doing here? This is extra large, large, medium, small, tiny. What is this in regards to? Like actual spacing. Okay. So then if we come back over here and I go to, I thought there was spacing somewhere. So there's block spacing here. Shadows. And then I'm somewhere else now because that's a core thing. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll revisit styling as we come back through more of this, but that's okay. That's where we were. All right. We should probably do something cool and kind of see like if we could build just a simple thing. Let me think here. Let me go back to this actually real quick because we're gonna need something here. I want to change. I'll use the grade styles. So let me assume. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, there's literally no reason I would touch this. There's no reason I would touch the styles thing. There's no way I would ever come into type. I don't know why that keeps doing that. There's no way I would ever come into the typography, and change a button style then. But the trouble is like, is this button in this template like that I put in here? Is this a GREYD button? No, see, like that's the one thing that's kind of, I think that's the thing that mainly messed with me is like the GREYD templates don't use, for understandable purposes in a way, but they don't use the GREYD buttons, and I think it's because you can have GREYD theme. You correct me if I'm wrong. Can you have the GREYD theme without having the GREYD plugin as well? So I understand why this stuff is happening, but I do just think that like there is like what I'm seeing. This isn't a UX UI specific thing, but it does affect it directly. I feel like, could be wrong. You guys tell me if I'm wrong, right or wrong. Hypothesis. I feel like there's a lot going on here to make it good for everyone, and because we're making it good for everyone, like certain things like that, like, oh, you can get this, you could download this, you could put this template in like a theme, and you can utilize the theme without necessarily having the extra stuff. So we didn't use the GREYD button, unless this is just like an older thing and we just didn't change it to a GREYD button. But I'm saying like, what is the reason for this not being a GREYD button right here? It's a GREYD template. It's using the GREYD theme, which if it doesn't use the GREYD plugin, I'm assuming you're not going to get the buttons. Could be wrong on that. I don't know if the buttons are in the theme or not. I just can't think of the only reason I could think of not putting a GREYD button here, I know it's just a template, but the only reason I could think of not doing that is to appease people that aren't going to be wanting that or using that. But I just don't know if I don't know if I personally agree with that being the best way to get people to like fall in line, so to speak, with your product. Because again, like I said, I just, that was confusing to me. And I don't, it's like I have to add another GREYD. I'd have to add a GREYD button in there to now utilize the GREYD styles. And I have GREYD already. I've already made that decision. So I know it's a little meta, but I think that I'm sure is just one small case of that similar thing happening. And I don't know if there's a straight up solution for it, but I really do think that's like a real thing that's kind of that I'm seeing here a little bit just from the first one. So yeah. Jake said, make a core button, do this, and also be accessible is hard, but from user perspective, it is impossible to understand. Yeah. Font families have been around for quite some time before core catched up with the font library. It's still there for backwards compatibility reasons. Gotcha. No, I'm totally empathetic to that. Decision to keep core buttons Might be for the case when you're installed GREYD on an existing website, disabling core buttons would break buttons in editor. Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about easy problems to solve here. So I'm just you know, my mind is just going. We're just trying to get some different things. GREYD WP and GREYD theme are technically the same except for the translations. Okay. I'm missing a bit of context on that one, Jessica. You're gonna have to help me on that. The GREYD button comes with the plugin. Okay, the patterns also work with GREYD theme only. Yeah, see, yeah, I feel that. The patterns of both the themes, so we can't use just custom. Yeah, I mean, I totally get the. I appreciate that context. I totally get it. I'm just saying that I just feel like that's the same thing. It's like that to me. You can go that route, but now it gets more difficult. It actually like I feel like sometimes giving your users more options makes the whole thing more complicated because now I have to manage two types of buttons, like literally two stylings for buttons. I can make the decision if I'm knowledgeable enough to not use both, but I guarantee you sometime, somebody's going to come in here and they're going to type in button and they're just going to go real fast and they're going to type in button and they're going to be like, boom, boom, like I want this one, boom, boom, whatever. And you know, they're not going to click on the GREYD button when they've been using it before. That's my hypothesis. I could be wrong. But you know, I totally get it. I just think that concept, not even just with the buttons, that concept in general is how like, you know, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like I don't know, Apple is probably like too ridiculous of an example, but they don't let you do like anything you want. You know what I mean? I know it's a different system. It's close. Like I get all that. I'm just saying like with a product like that, I don't know. That's my hypothesis as a user trying to understand it from the product perspective. Obviously it works. Like it's just giving people a lot of options. And I'm not sure, you know, what the kind of pros and cons of all that, you know, may possibly be. Let's see here, though. Let's see. I don't know why that's leaving me. Let's refresh this. Let's come in here, and let's just, for the sake of it, let's go. I want a button to be this red color. I want my text to be white. I want it to hover to... That's really cool that you could do that there, though. That's dope. I want it to just hover to black is fine. That's cool, whatever. I want a border radius of... I mean, it's easy to style once you understand all that. I just think, like, again, it's like there's some things there that either need to be... people need to be educated on, or they're going to be confused. So that would be my thought process. My border color also, I mean, is there, I'm missing something. Are we not, does GREYD have like a global color styling type of thing? For lack of a better term, like a framework, so to speak, for just the colors? Or is that not something that is currently, like, I'm going to make some ugly buttons here just so I can, like, fully understand it. So, like, this is, like, you know, I have a border of that on there, and then whatever, when it hovers, just does whatever. Box shadow. My point is, like, I would want, one of the ways my mind works is, like, okay, I have 3 colors that I want to use my website. I have, like, red, I don't know, like maybe not even 3 colors, maybe like just one like main color, just like red, and then you have like your blacks or whites or whatever. But like, am I missing that where it's like colors, or are we, well, actually, hang on a second. Maybe, let me try to do this again. Maybe that's in core, font family, maybe that's that. And then can we go into background here? Oh, so these are from the theme. Perfect. Okay, that's me. That's on me. That's on me. Okay, love that. All right, so let's do it differently. Okay, so I understand. I'm starting to understand a little bit now. You gotta stick with me. All right, so edit our palette. Okay, I want to change our whole palette then. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. All right, that's kind of a core thing, but also kind of like a weird, clunky-ish thing. Damn, is there any way to change that experience where you don't let them have custom colors like out of the box? I'll come back to what I'm talking about in a second. This is where you want to start then. This is where I want to start. Obviously, this is a core experience. This is where I want to start. That's my problem. All right, so theme. So these are like theme colors, right? I guess. Perfect. That is so stupid that is not out there by default. That is unbelievably stupid. I know that's not you guys. That is so dumb. Oh my God. How would I know? I don't know why that's happening. How would I know that this is a primary color without having to click that button? Somebody put a track ticket in for that, or whatever you have to put in. Oh man, that is why are we hiding stuff? Why? Okay, thank you. All right, so now my primary color is red. Okay, this is perfect. This is where I want to be. That's on me, but also kind of like confusing from a core standpoint. Secondary, tertiary. Can you just? I know this is a core problem. I don't want to deal with this too much. Can you not? Can you seriously not just like clear the core color? I'm not spending too much time on this. I know what's going on here. Okay, I just want to change it though, just so we know. So let's do like Okay, fun. Okay, so this is the other thing too is like some of these things. Obviously, you guys had the styling already in there. You had those colors like kind of already set globally. Okay, love that. This is where people should start. The other stuff was kind of like important, but also kind of not on me. This is very dumb to have in here. Totally unnecessary in my opinion. Yeah. Okay. That's not you guys. All right. Let's reload this. All right. All right. So we're getting it. Okay. So then the point of that is that, again, it does sit atop core. I like that's a good way. I think that we should lean on that. I think we should also lean on the fact that there's a lot of core styles. And I know it kind of says that over here. Define color spacing. I know I like kind of read that and kind of like didn't, I guess, listen to it in a way, but at the same time, like there's definitely still a little bit of overlap, I feel like, with that, the button thing specifically. Maybe I just found like the hardest example, which, I understand. Okay, so if I go to buttons, then I go back to primary, then I get rid of this. You wouldn't want, this is so stupid. Is there any way that you guys could hide this on your end, or is this all just like a core thing? This is so dumb to me. So dumb. Why do we have standard colors? Just give me the stuff that I set up, please. Damn. I think it would be a good. I don't know if you guys care about this, but I think when I say you guys, I mean the GREYD team. I don't know if it would be beneficial to go this level of this, but I feel like a tutorial on how to set up the stuff would be great. Or maybe you have a tutorial, but I'm saying like an in core, in the admin onboarding of like, hey, go to the colors right now and set those up. And if you can, like, delete these other ones. I don't think you can do that, I guess. But like, go set the colors up right now and then only use those things. I feel like that's kind of like the best way that people are going to have a really good experience with this. Can you do? You can't. Is some of this like? Is any of this like variable? I mean, again, I love that you can do way more stuff with these buttons. That's amazing. That's dope. Primary button, secondary button, alternate button. Large button, small button. Okay. I don't want to spend the whole rest of the time on buttons, but I just feel like there's a little bit of... That was the main thing that I was thinking about there. Okay. All right. Let me go back to the chat real quick. There's a comment from me before. Not sure where that one was. Okay, gotcha. With the subscription license also comes personal onboarding. Nice. Okay, that's dope. It's worth noting hover isn't in core yet. That's awesome. That GREYD has that. Global colors are core feature. Yep, gotcha. Yep. Love it. Default can be turned off depending on the theme and JSON. Interesting. We left the core colors in, but they should be deactivated to be a theme JSON. Everything in a theme is a value in JSON or styling. Yes, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that that's just kind of, again, usability, and I know a lot of this stuff is kind of like core-ish. So, okay. Let's try to do some stuff where, let me see, what else did I have in my notes here? So we talked heavily about global styling. We did like some importing in simple sections and changing that. I really want to try to do some data structure stuff because like that's kind of like my bread and butter. Everything else is, obviously solid and necessary, but this is one of those things where I'm like, I love dynamic data. Okay, so let's go back to our. Let me poke around a little bit here more though, because like there's just so much stuff. So there's like Grade Hub, dynamic templates, dynamic post types, pop ups, site connector, everything here. This is just you guys have so much stuff. It's crazy. Let's create a post type. My favorite. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so let's talk about this UI and everything like that. So new post type, core post type, or taxonomy. Already confused about core post type. What is that? Posts and pages. Which type? Oh, that should definitely say edit core post types. Wow, that's interesting. I mean, well, I know what this is. I mean, you could do this in kind of like other ones as well, but that's kind of cool. Real quick, let's just, have some fun. Let's say you wanted to add like a custom field to your post. Okay, that was a little weird, but all right. I probably would have just like sent them there, but that's fine. You're editing the posts. Okay. So we can have custom taxonomies if we want. All right. And then site-wide taxonomies. Lot to go over here. Where did that take me? Create a global taxonomy. And that took me to the post types. Is that? Yeah. Again, I'm not saying anything this is bad, but I would never think to click on post types. It probably is, but this is the naming thing and the weird, like I would never think to click on post types. I've never seen that on any of the other ones and then go here to click taxonomy, especially when I clicked this and I got dumped here. I would absolutely never ever think to click this button ever. I think if you can make this pop up and automatically be selected, maybe you could keep it like this. But honestly, I didn't even get to the custom post types. I just clicked that because I saw it. And I would absolutely expect to see taxonomies over here on this side panel. 100 million %. Never ever seen it like in the same exact thing as custom post types. I know you have a lot going on here, more than normal places, but I would never expect that. If we go down here to fields, okay, so we're adding some extra fields. I don't know what we would add to a, say like subtitle or something. I don't know. If I could type subtitle. And then unique name. Okay, so label and unique name. We gotta, yeah, that's one of them. Is like this should be. I'm assuming this is the label is what you see. The human readable unique name is in the database. I would say like variable name or something unique. I know what unique name means. I think, but I would also every big place does this where you just tab over to here and it just puts it in like in lowercase. So I would just honestly, like, you could change it, but it automatically fills it. So I would definitely do that. Field type. Okay, field types is really big, and you guys can't see this damn drop down. Damn. Text single line. There's one that's short. There's one that's just regular. Damn, I wish you guys could see this, but I can't share my whole screen. I could possibly share the tab real quick, but I have a million tabs open. Let me hang on a sec. Let me share this tab just because I think this is important. Let me replace this tab, edit post type demo. Maybe it's gonna look a little weird, but oh, didn't mean to do that. Meant to do this. You still can't see it. Damn, Chrome sucks. All right, sorry about that. Let's do. Let's just go back to our other way here. There's text single line short, text single line long. What's the difference? Yeah, it'd have to be sold on why there's short, regular, and long for single lines. Not exactly sure why we have a lot of variables there, or a lot of different types. There's number, email, date, time, date and time, which is good. You have to have date and time. There is not, from what I'm seeing, a URL field, which is, oh wait, there is a link. Never mind. Is that like a regular link? Yeah, I'm assuming that's a regular link. Wait, unless it's in the Word. I know you can't see it. It's in the WordPress side of things though, so I'm not sure. Drop down, radio buttons, headline, description, separator, and empty space. Interesting. What the hell just happened to my screen? You guys can't see my screen, can you? Okay. Restream. You're killing me. I've literally never had that happen before, ever. What is going on? What is going on? Let's look at some comments while we're here. Looks like a bug. Were we talking about the thing at the top? Choose page to add to this snap post. Dude, seriously, what is happening here? Let me fix this. Thank you. What the hell was that? Restream. Okay. Anyway. I think you chose page to add to this field to not post. I think it's post up here. I think. But neither here nor there. I'm just kind of looking at the fields right now. File media. I mean, again, reasonable amount of things here. What do I not see? I don't see. Is there relationships? Do I have to build that somewhere else? Do I see? What else? Do I see like? Yeah, any sort of relationship is like link possibly what we got there. Required, cool, inner text placeholder, default value. I mean, this is, again, like, this is awesome that this is built in. I think that there's just like a million and one ways to continue to improve something like this, because there's so many good examples out there to continue to go through. What I want to do is I'll save these changes for us. Okay. So now if we go to posts over here, posts, add a post, we have subtitle. I made it a URL. Okay, perfect though. Wait a minute. Did I make that a link? I made it a link. Okay, so this is, okay, so you can just put in a URL like google.com or something. Okay. Okay, so link, maybe I would call it URL, but whatever. That's fine. Okay, it's a link. It's a URL field. Okay, perfect. Let's see what else we got here. I want to add a new post type. So let's create one. Let's do, what's the standard one? Services, team members, testimonials. Let's do team members. Team members, create a post type. I don't think this step is necessary. Terms, team members. Did I spell that wrong? Team members is, that's, well, I'm used to naming the stuff in plural. This is interesting. I'm used to naming it in plural because I want my archives to be in plural. So then that was cool that it added the extra S there, but okay. Icon. These are probably just standard stuff here. Cool. Doesn't matter. A heart is good. Position. I love this concept right here, but I have a better one for you. After post, after media. This is awesome that there's so many options though. This is really cool because not a lot of places give you this. Personally, I'm going to go back to like the stuff on the side. I would love to see, I'm just going to name drop here. Crocoblock is the best way that I've ever seen it. They have their own section on the side panel that says like CPTs, like options, CCTs and everything. I love that they completely co-opt the side panel for good things, like for things like this. So I would love to see that where it's just like it can make its own section, so to speak. I feel like after templates, this always confused the hell out of me, like the positioning thing. So what if we just went like after templates, saved this, so now it's here. Yeah, I mean, everyone has a different thing there. I just like my stuff to be organized and everything and easily seen, but this is way more than most places give you. Normally just like typing in a random number. So I like that. Standard. Okay, so standard feature is very cool that you can do this. So author, interesting. Categories and tags. These are the standard ones. Custom taxonomies. Okay. So this is where we're linking our taxonomies to this custom post type, and there could be a custom one specifically for it, or we could have a global taxonomy. I'm wondering, there's certain cases where I've wanted to just use the standard categories, that comes with WordPress. I wanted to use that everywhere. This doesn't seem like what I'd be doing for that, and I'm going to look at it for a second. If I come over here, still don't love that. So this is a new taxonomy. In other ones, in other dynamic data like tools, I think you can just take this taxonomy right here and set it to other post types and just make that your one, and it's kind of cleaner that way because it's just the main one, and it's all good. I don't do that often, but it's cool that there is a global taxonomy thing. That's good. That's just another thought process. I kind of want to. I'd probably use potentially the headshot as the featured image for this team members one. The content editor, I'm assuming, is the block editor. I personally like that it's turned off by default. I like that. For most custom post types, I do that. Post architecture. Okay, so this is always like, these types of settings are really interesting. So show in front end search. I mean, like, that's straightforward, but even like somebody that's pretty deep in this, like, I still never understand what we're actually talking about here with some of these settings. So I feel like an example would be great. This post has an archive. Yeah, that's good. The individual posts can be added to menus. It's a slightly a strange setting, but that's cool though. I like that that's an option. Post is hierarchical. Always love saying that. Make data from the latest post available globally. All users. I like this sub thing to make that, to express that. It's probably really small, but all users can always use the data of the latest post in the editor via dynamic tag. I'd have to see that in action, but that sounds like a cool feature. Okay. All right, so we're going to save those changes, and then we're going to come down here and we're going to add just a couple quick things. So there'd be like first name and last name would probably, I always throw that generally in the title. Headshot would be the featured image. We'd say like job title for our test here. Still think this needs to be, I'm going to test this out because this is confusing to me. Job title, I'm just going to write like, I don't think it could be like that. I think you need to have, isn't that a variable name? It needs to have like a dash or something. This is a bunch of thing. I still don't understand the difference between short line, short, regular, and long. Inner text placeholder and default value, and then description. I think there's a lot of other things here. Do we have any conditional logic for any of these fields? That would be something that I think would be, I know we're not talking specifically about feature requests, but that's something that I would think. What else we got? Job title, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Like, phone number is fine. Phone number, again, shouldn't be writing that in there. Let's do number. Wait a second, number. Okay, so is there not a phone number field? That's fine. Honestly, I'm not a big, like, I'm fine with using text for a lot of things because a lot of times you get really weird when you have to do different fields, but I think a phone number field might be advantageous potentially. But I've also had, just real random aside, if you're going deep into these custom post type things, like I've also had certain ones that like render the phone number weird and then it's a real pain in the ass. So I don't mind not a lot of fields personally. I'll make it work if I can get the stuff in there. So I don't think the amount of fields is bad. I just do think if there's not relationships and things, I think that's kind of a need. That's more of like technically a UX thing too, because like, I mean, you're gonna have people doing certain things. Okay, so let's add one real quick, like John Doe. Enter job title. Okay. Whoa. Did I not save what I had? What? Where did that go? I guess I didn't save it. Okay, I think I know what just happened there, and I'm not. Did I save this? Okay, that can't happen. Yeah, I didn't have something in this field, and it just didn't save my stuff and didn't tell me that I needed to have something in there. So I like wrote stuff in there and did stuff. Yeah, so that's definitely an issue. Again, I think it'd be solved by the whole auto thing. Also, wait a second, real quick. Yep, see, that's exactly what I was talking about. Like, I would just autofill that, just boom, just like automatically lowercase, automatically put dashes in between as soon as I tab over to this. Every single time I write something in here, as soon as I tab over, it just automatically does that. That's definitely the way to go there. I could talk about this part of this all day. I spend way too much time in custom post type dynamic data land. Um, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, so I just that's an issue. Let me go to create team member. Okay, so I've never seen. I know what this is. Are we adding? I've never seen this, and I think the reason I've never seen this is because I think most places turn it off. I guess. Was that one of the turn offable options? Post type archive front end search. I don't think so. I mean, I know I could turn it off. I just feel like it's normally off by default. Because these, if I'm not mistaken, are the default WordPress custom fields that don't make any sense and just like a random gobbledygook that most people don't know what they are. I think. So yeah, I would probably turn that off if at all possible. Or I don't know. I've just never seen it, and I've worked with a lot of dynamic data. So um, yeah, user management. That's cool. User management. Exclude this post for. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Hmm. Yeah, we might need a whole video on like user management if there's some cool stuff in there. But yeah. Okay. Okay. So I mean, again, not bad. I'm gonna need definitely some updates on some of that stuff though here. So like, let's see. Yeah, headline separated empty spaces. Yeah, for sure for layouts there. Relationships is done with global taxonomies and conditional content. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at that. Gotcha. Yeah, no problem, man. It's possible to use standard categories. You need to add a taxonomy called category, which is then is the site-wide category taxonomy you can decide. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's cool. It's cool, but I would never think to do that. Um, I feel like that could be simply a different way. I feel like to do that easier. I'm not sure if it's technically easier, but a different way from a UX standpoint is if you go to post types and then like how you guys have done this, which I still think this should say edit core post types or something. But if you like if you had another button that said edit core taxonomies and just did this exact same thing, this drop down thing, with that, I think that would be, and then this should say new taxonomy in my opinion. Just what I'm just the way that I think about it. Post architecture is based on what you can do with how post types are registered, except for the last one. Gotcha. Write a fake phone number. Huh. The white custom fields area is from core. Yeah, I just have never seen it, so I feel like a lot of people turn it off. Like, and I'm not turning it off. I feel like they're disabling it. Like the products are disabling it somehow. Um, Okie doke. I want to experiment with what Thomas said here for a second. Relationships are done with global taxonomies and conditional content. Okay. Global taxonomies. So let's go over there. Create post type taxonomy. No, this isn't where I want to do that. There's a button to do this somewhere. Is that maybe that was where I wanted to do it? Okay, see, I'm confused about that, but I'll do it like this. Because wait a second though, I have to check this out now. If I wanted to create a taxonomy here, yeah, I don't know. I feel like department. What is also I don't like department here. Departments, and then see, I feel like I think this is a variable name, right? I feel like we need or department. Well, yeah, I mean in this case it probably wouldn't be. It'd be like team member categories, but in this case I changed the name. So maybe just I don't know what the standard thing like variable name something I don't know, or like a slug name maybe. Hierarchical, cool. Save. Also, does save and update do the same thing? Okay. Great. Now, what happened with that though? I mean, I just created it and then I could go into team members and no, that's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go here. And then I have departments. So is this the only place I can add these now? No, I can add it here. Okay. But these are specific. Yeah. There's no right way to do this stuff. It's just like, it's what you're getting used to. I understand how it works. It's just I'm comparing it to other stuff. Like, okay, this is the department for this. Great. And then you have global. Okay, I need to check this out though. Let's try department, and I'm gonna say like location or something. I don't know. And then, okay, and then we come in here terms. So location and locations, great. So now this is more akin to what I would think would happen is like I'm creating a taxonomy that I could use wherever. Yeah, see, I feel like this is really redundant because like couldn't I have just done this? Couldn't I, what's the difference between the custom taxonomy that I did over there and then this one? Does that even register anywhere? I'm sure there's like some maybe random use case, but like see what I'm talking about? I could have just said departments and put it on this one. That's perfect, in my opinion. I don't think you need to do anything else. It's not also this idea of global. I don't know if the word global really like actually makes sense slash matters in this case because they're kind of just they are site wide, but I read something and it made it sound like it was going to be literally everywhere. And that was not exactly the case. It's like it's accessible everywhere. But yeah, just feedback on that. Because this is how I would do this. I don't know. I can't think of a reason. If you guys have a reason, because I'm sure you did it for a reason, I can't think of a reason why I'd ever want to do this. Because then it's just only there. It's like kind of cool that it's only there, but also not because it's like now I'm gonna kind of forget like where it is. I'm definitely gonna go over to my taxonomy section and be like, here's all my taxonomies for all these different things. I don't show in front end and back end and this taxonomy. Also, there's another setting now that I get, right? Unless that was somewhere else. There's another setting that I get here that isn't necessarily in the custom one. So now it's like if I'm not misunderstanding, there's kind of a different thing there. Also, another just a random thing. I know this is more of a feature request than a UX thing, but a lot of places have um, the like custom. You can do custom fields on your archive as well, or on your taxonomy. Probably not extremely used like heavily, but it's still something to consider. Let's go to team members again, just real quick, and see what that looks like. Did I not save that? Save team members over here. Boom. Definitely losing my mind. Right. So departments, location was tagged to team members. Or wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No. No. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I don't know. Strange. Do I need to save this? Am I missing something? Very possible. Global content, finish search, custom fields. Yeah, I don't know. I'm unsure on that one. I don't know why I'm not seeing that. I mean, I see departments, but I don't see the other ones. Not entirely sure. To the chat. Let's see. Custom taxonomies on the post. Custom taxonomies on the post type edit screen are for specific for that post type. Yeah, for sure. You did go the right way. You'll have enable the global taxonomy through the creative post type wizard. Interesting. Okay. All right. Where's that at? Where's that at? Where's that? Create post type wizard. Need to activate show in the back end and front end, and then it will be shown. Okay. Gotcha. I would have never ever thought to click that for this purpose, because if I'm creating a taxonomy, then I want to see it. Okay. So now, okay, so obviously we all know when it's not hierarchical, it's kind of like tags. When it is, it's kind of like categories. It's silly, but yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so it's technically like tags now. And then, yeah. I wouldn't have thought to click that. I think we should probably put that on by default then, because I don't see a reason why somebody would do that without wanting to do that. But then we just change it to hierarchical, cool. And then, okay, perfect. All right, love it. Works. I would never do, I can't think of a reason why I would ever want a custom one just for that. I'd probably always go like, just go over to the global, create it, and then that way, because I don't know, I could be wrong here. Let's just make up a scenario that I think could happen. Okay, let's say I would have done this differently. I would have said location here at first, right? And then, and I would have made a location custom taxonomy. And then later down the line, I was actually trying to think of something that I would do. Like, so let's say like the employees could be at like, different locations, but also our services could take place at different locations or something. So now I had locations in this as custom taxonomy. Can I take this custom taxonomy and make it a global one when I end up inevitably potentially having multiple different post types that I want to associate with it? Because that could definitely happen. Also, just as another random thing, if I didn't know what I was doing and I thought, yeah, this site-wide, I don't know if it's like the best way to say that, because like I understand it's accessible site-wide, but it sounds like when I read that initially, I thought it was going to be on every single post time. I was like, I never want to do that. Like most of the time, almost never want to do that. But my thing is with this is if you can't take this custom taxonomy and make it a global one, then can you go like just a real quick example, just because I'm curious. This is the stuff that I really enjoy. If you go to like services, like I said, oh shit. Okay, that's cool. That was really weird. How did I even? Oh, I clicked this button. Interesting. Okay, so I clicked this button this time and it went to a page. And this is different. This is different than what I was doing before. This is the other UI. The other UI, you just typed it in and then it came to this page. Okay, interesting. Interesting as well. That those are the same thing. Okay. All right, whatever. So if we come down here and then down to templates and then to, for services, wait a minute. Am I losing my mind? Oh, right here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so then if I do this again, is this going to pose a problem? Because I could probably definitely see somebody doing this. If I just did this exact same thing. And now I have technically two custom taxonomies that are exactly the same. Like, variable-wise. But, ultimately they're probably not going to be. Oh, I see what you did. Okay. So it's like team members department. And then this one is service department. So like, test, we have a test in that one. Yeah. Okay. I can't think of a reason to do that, but given the global thing, but maybe it's a backwards compatibility thing too. I don't know if you guys had that first, but that would be something that I would kind of think about from a user perspective, probably be a little jarring at first. I didn't get into it though. I really want to see the relationship thing, like David said. And I know Thomas said, okay, so it's done with global taxonomies and conditional content. Where is the conditional content part? Where is that? Might need assistance. Or is it just like a template type situation? Dynamic image title. So when we say conditional content, are we talking about like actually doing stuff like this? Or, I mean, I'm assuming conditional content. Oh, conditional content is a block. Got it. Okay. So conditional content. And I know I'm in a template right now, so that's probably not going to help us, but I see. Let's just see what this is like here. Oh, wait a minute. This stupid thing. Okay, there we go. Ah. I might need to actually do a full thing on this. You can't see this drop down. URL parameter, cookie, time, user role, post taxonomy. I gotta dream up a scenario really quick. Let me think. What's a good relationship? It would be like team member to service, just based off what we had. So the way that I would normally expect this to happen is I would come in here and I would create a relationship either somewhere else and relate these two items, or I would go into one of them and physically relate it to the other one. Now, again, I mean, we don't need to go super deep in relationships, but I think it's an important part of dynamic data. There's like one to one, so to speak, one to many, bidirectional. You know, basically like one directional or bidirectional, and I'm not seeing like a one directional way, so to speak. Like if we had a field called like posts or something is the way that I've seen it before, and then that post is, you know, you can grab from the other thing. I guess link is close, but not really because it's just a link to it. So I'm definitely not seeing that. And then global taxonomies is just not the way that I would think to do it, but could potentially work, I suppose. But yeah, but that's what I would say from like for like a relationship perspective. From what I'm seeing, it's not it's atypical if the relationship thing situation works. So let's go to service, create services. I don't know, lawn mowing or web design. Cool. Publish. I don't even need fields. I just want to do a couple. Photography. Cool. And let's do another team member. Let's just do Alex Smith. That's a quarterback, I think. Oops. Anyway. Okay. So we got two team members, two of those. I guess without relationships, we'd have to do like a global taxonomy and say they're related. They're in the same taxonomy, so to speak. 100%, Toby. Take a look at GREYD. 100%. I think you're thinking in a very different way here. Most likely. I feel like there's a little bit of a different way of that. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, the way I think about it, it's relatively straightforward. It's like if I wanted to relate one type of post, like a post in one post type to another post in a different post type, how would I do that? So it'd be like Alex, I want to say like Alex and John both do web design. So I could go to like the web design, I could have a web design archive, and within that, like dynamically, I could say who is related to that, and it would show like those people. And then, you know, similarly for the other one that we did, like photography, well, John doesn't do photography, but Alex does. So when I want to relate Alex to photography, and then when I can go on that, you know, that archive, so to speak, for photography, I can show like members of our team who do this, and then like do that. So I think I know what we're talking. I think I'm understanding now the concept of conditional content and taxonomies, but I don't think that I can't see a way to do it as dynamically as I would think. Thomas says, now set up a single template for services and you'll be able to set up automated query for your team members. Okay. Let's try to do that. Is that going to be a template? Or am I going to have to go into FSE land for this? Let's see. Um, really confusing. Templates, WP templates. Ugh. I guess we have to go here for this. We have to do it like this, right? Yeah. Archive. Okay, wait a second. Single template for services. Single item services for all services. Yeah. These are just blogs. So I'll just do a simple thing. We'll test my non-existent block editor skills. Let's do a. I really don't know why that doesn't pop out like that. Let's do. Yeah, it's FSC. Okay, so automated query. So like query loop potentially. Well, so like actually, how I would like just as a real example would be like, we do slash heading or something. Oh, look at that! I feel like I'm a block editor boy. Team members. Basically, it doesn't matter, but like that do this service, so to speak, right? That's the concept. You wouldn't write it like that, but that's the concept. And then this would be, does it matter? It doesn't matter. It could be a heading. Start blank. Get out of here. Start blank. Post slider blank. Yeah, just blank, dude. Just make it blank. Let's do just like a header. Damn. Well, how do we actually even do? This is on me here, obviously, because I don't really know exactly what to like. Because I want to do like title. Is there like a title one? Archive title. Yeah, so it'd be like title. I think. Delete that and then go. So let's save this, go back to our query loop, team members, filters, advanced filter, filter by taxonomy, meta field, authors, date, select individual post. Let me just see what we're looking at, what we're working with here. Oh, this is a draft still, what the hell? Published, save, view. Okay, so that's what I expected. But are we, I don't know if, I'm probably missing something, but my thought is like, there's no way right now that Alex, let me do one more thing. Let me do this. Let me see. Sally, Jean, coming up with names on the fly here. Oh, they're not. I didn't publish it. Boom, boom. Love it. Okay, so here's what I'm saying though: is like there's probably a way to do this, but I just don't know, and I'm trying to see how intuitive it is. So like this is the photography one. This is the web design one. Probably should have put an H1. Sorry, but they're different pages. They're different archives, right? Not pages. They're archives. So if Alex and Sally do photography and Sally and John do web design, then I only want to show them and I want to show that dynamically. And I prefer to not have to duplicate like the taxonomies, because that's an approach for sure. Like I could say like a photography taxonomy, a web design taxonomy, and a something else, if I had another service. But I don't want to have to do that because now I'm managing two different things, so to speak. So I am missing something on the relationship piece of it. Set up a query to automate for your team members. Yeah. So I don't know if we're not talking about the same thing. But I could show you how to do that. If I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, but I could show you how other places do that. I'm happy to do that. But that is when here's an example. I don't know if we're not talking on the same page here. Obviously, I'm just talking to myself. So just like, but what I'm saying is when you hear a Bricks user say relationships, they're talking about what I'm talking about. They're not talking about like the other thing. So that's just one thing that I would say is interesting. But obviously, it was pretty easy to get the query going. Just need to get, just need to see if there's that. Toby says, I believe relationships, as we know, with ACF and jet engine is a necessity. I mean, I use them all the time. I mean, especially if you're getting like a highly dynamic website, you're eventually gonna have a situation where you want to relate this type of custom post type to another custom post type. I could literally talk about the dynamic data part all day. I don't know how valuable that is to the GREYD team. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the forms for a second, because like this is another one where if you're buying this whole thing, that uh, have you filtered the queries real quick? I mean, we went down to the query section here. This is a single. Actually, wait, no. Wait a second. I'm sorry. I was saying archive before, but they were singles, but that shouldn't change anything. But no, I didn't filter them, but I went to team member. My face is in the way. Hang on. That's fine. I went to team member. So we're on a service thing. Also, if I could quickly do this. I don't know how to do anything back here. Heading. There we go. And move this thing up. Nope, I was down. What are we doing? And then we'll just say this is an H1 real quick, and we'll put in post title, or just title. There we go. What? Oh, it's a different block. Kill me. Damn. Come on. There we go. Whatever. Just back to H1. I think that is gonna just put our thing in there, so it's a little easier to read on the front end. Yeah, there we go. So, did I filter them? Don't know. Let's go back in here for a second. Team member, newest to oldest. I don't care about that for this example. Post per page, don't care about that. So there's filters, taxonomies, authors, and keywords. I don't see how that's going to help me. Taxonomies, yes, if I made taxonomies for them, but I don't. If I made a taxonomy, but I don't want to do that because that's not super scalable in my opinion. I could, just so we are all aware, we could say like service categories. We could say web design, photography, and SEO. But then the moment that I go and I add another service to my website, and this example actually isn't that good because your shit isn't going to change that much. But when you had like a ton of videos and tools, then you need to dynamically be able to do that. Like it needs to be like when I'm adding a new tool, I need to quickly just be able to like add a new thing. I don't know if this is kind of hard to describe, so I don't know. We might be kind of talking past each other, but I could definitely do this with taxonomies. It would just be more manual than the way that I'm used to doing it. And then filter down here. So filter by taxonomies, meta field, job title, author's date, select individual posts. So yeah, but that's not dynamic enough for me. And then sort results. Okay, yeah. So okay, you guys tell me then. What advanced filter am I gonna do to do with this? I'm at advanced filter. Are we selecting individual posts? Or are we filter by taxonomy? Reverse and exclude. Show only posts with assigned terms. That's kind of cool. That's actually really cool. Kind of like just like a little condition. It's fancy. Yeah. Reload full page between. Obviously, this is all other stuff. Just use taxonomy. Okay, well, that's fine. We could definitely do that. I'm just telling you that that's not how a lot of page builder people. I know GREYD is not a page builder specifically, but that's not how people are going to do that. Because the way people are going to want to do it is they're going to want to be able to have a ton of one custom post type and a ton of another custom post type and not have to manage the relationship using a taxonomy, because the taxonomy, even if it is a global taxonomy, is still going to be an extra step to manage the things, to manage the relationships. I'm not doing a good job explaining it, and in lieu of like bringing bricks up or some up, it doesn't even need to be bricks, like any other like custom post type thing. I think unless I'm missing something. No, you can set the taxonomy's filter dynamically to the taxonomy of the archive. Okay. I'm missing something for sure. Filter by taxonomy, departments, locations. Trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll set up a taxonomy if we want to do that real quick for sure. Let's do. So, what would the example be? Yeah, I'm still super confused on this because like, I don't see a way to do a bi-directional relationship then either. Like, how would you do that unless you did some weird stuff with taxonomies? Bi-directional relationship would be like, I want to show John Doe. Okay, so not only do I want to do this, but I also want to click on Alex Smith, and I want to show all of the services that he does. So like I can go to Alex Smith's single, his team member single, and on Alex Smith's page it would say like web design and SEO that he does dynamically. We might have to revisit this. Example of using relationships field would be submissions to a landing page CPT created by site users. We should relate the submission CPT to the landing page CPT so that users see their submissions. There's a million and one examples. We may have to table this one because I genuinely don't know unless we can get explicit stuff. Again, I'm totally understanding of the taxonomy thing. I think we're miscommunication, and I will take blame for it on what exactly we're trying to achieve here. Or not even what we're trying to achieve what we're trying to achieve, but the way in which I think most people that know what a relationship is are going to go about trying to do it, at least from the the perspective of like page builder land and dynamic data. I think. Just realized you made a services post type. It should be a taxonomy word here. Okay, so exactly. Thank you, Jessica, for illustrating my point. I hear what you're saying, and I 100% know what you're saying is going to work, but that is not what I'm talking about specifically. So maybe we could have like another discussion, or I could show you guys another video or something, because I'm not saying it's like a deal breaker necessarily, but I use relationships, and I think a lot of people that use dynamic data a lot, the relationships are crazy. Like the amount of stuff that like you can do with them, it just opens up a whole another world. And I'm also not 100% sure if Grade's initiative and goal is to like be like the best possible dynamic data custom post type tool. That's only one piece of what you guys do. So that makes sense though. That is slightly different than the approach that I am accustomed to. So that's why I was a little thrown off there. But let's talk about the forms, because we can come back to this and discuss that even further. So let's do forms, because forms are interesting, and forms are something that like everybody has baked in. But I think GREYD has gone crazy with the amount of form stuff here. Now, obviously, it's still all built in the block editor. If I remember back in the day, I was using Jet Form Builder for a little bit, and that was built in the block editor as well. And that was before I actually like didn't even know it was the block editor. I was like, I was using that before I was like even deep in the community. I was like, oh, this is okay. So there's a lot of stuff here. So GREYD forms, GREYD text. Okay. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's no built-in form experience in core, right? Like there's no core form blocks. Like you can obviously use fields for blocks in this manner, but I don't think there's like an actual, like if you just load it up, core, you can't just like add a form without installing like contact form 7 at least or something, right? So that's kind of one thing to note, because there shouldn't be a ton of overlap then on the actual form pieces, so to speak. So if input fields, checkboxes, drop downs, live survey. What is that? That's interesting. Image panels, love that. Conditional fields, that's a must. Multi-step container. I mean, this is a huge thing. I think just from seeing a little bit of this, I think that there's a lot of really cool stuff that I'm probably not going to have time to go over right now. But I want to try a couple specific things. And if you guys, any of my more advanced form building friends, if you're in here right now, why did that happen? This is a Gutenberg thing that I just don't understand. But if there's if there's any of you guys that are heavily into like form building stuff, if you want to see something specific that is like easily ascertainable, meaning that like it's not going to take like 10 hours to set up, I will try to do that right now. The first thing off the top of my head, because um, I was just talking to Brendan O'Connell yesterday about this, is like, can we? I've done this. I've had to do this many times. Can we set up a form that, like, for instance, if we take some radio buttons, I know this is just some random stuff in here. Can I go like this? Can I go into this radio button and can I go into this radio button and say, so that's the field name. That's not going to be the label, or is it going to be the label? I will just say like options or something, whatever. Where is our, where's our, how do we change this part? Do we just type in here? No? Okay, is there no field on the right side for this? I feel like that might be beneficial if we had a thing on the right side, because that's automatically where I was looking instead of like right in this canvas, but that might be a me thing. I would say right here, I would say what, like something like, what services do you want? I'm probably like really also like, these are probably niche things, so I do apologize if this isn't exactly like the kind of feedback, but I do think that it, with the way that GREYD is pitched and the really what I see like the clientele being for GREYD, I think there's a lot of people that are going to want to do like more advanced stuff, but we could talk about like more basic stuff too. These are the things that come to me when I'm like, I hope the form builder, you know, an example, like anytime I would look at a form builder, I hope the form builder can like give me a name, an email, and a message. If it can't do that, we need to have a separate discussion. So then the next thing up is like, well, can I go like this? Can I say like, what services do you want? Something like that. Okay. And then in these options, can I, maybe this is the wrong thing. Can I dynamically bring in my services? You know what I mean? So if I have web design and photography in my in my custom post type, can I come in here and automatically get those to list dynamically? So that would be my first question. And it looks like I can say like test. Actually, I don't know what the hell. Okay, so this is throwing me off a little bit. I feel like we should throw the label field over here and make it match, because I don't know if that's typical, but I don't know if that's super typical. Maybe it's not super typical, but I like the in canvas experience, but I don't default to wanting to do it over here. I don't, that might be a me thing. Test 2. Okay, so now we have these options. That's terrific. Can we? Oh, I did see dynamic template, but I'm not sure if that's. Oh, wait a minute. Is this like a component? Because that's probably not exactly what I want. Multi-select is interesting. Radio button checkbox. Okay. Let me go over here real quick. Back to our other thing. I don't think taxonomy should be used to substitute relationships. We should have a create term. We have to create a term to make CPT work bidirectionally. I just got how you're thinking, and that is absolutely not how WordPress core blocks works, or WordPress core works. Interesting. Maybe it's a page builder land exclusive thing then. Wouldn't GREYD support features that don't exist yet in the core? I don't know. The problem with me is I don't know, because I think I know the disconnect here, and I think it's because like page building works in one way and then core works in another way. You can see that extremely easily if you're used to bricks, and then you go into FSE. I did it live on stream, and it was wild the first time I did it. So I think like there's definitely like probably technical architecture limitations based off of like how core works and then how like GREYD would work, for instance, right? And so that's like one side of it. And then the other thing is like going back to the FSE thing. It's like the way page builders work seems to be very conditional based. It's like you create a template and then maybe it has a type, but then you put it in certain spots. Not really how FSE works. It's like you create a template and then you create a template type, and then you have to show certain things. You can easily see that when like you have to put the header and footer on every single thing. It's more like actual, the very limited experience that I have with like actually building out a website where you're using like, like you're doing the thing where you're referencing the headers, you're referencing the footers in every different type of layout, rather than, again, in page builder land where you just say, I want the header in all these places. So that's my interpretation of that. So I don't know if there's a way to even do what we're talking about. I'm just saying that that's what I think a page builder brained person would be thinking of. And I'm not sure of the technical limitations. Having a core form block would be illogical. Yeah, I don't know. No, you're thinking exactly the way you should think, Mark. Dynamic capability is a huge requirement. What you're trying to do right now, dynamically inserting post content, is on our roadmap. Okay, we're talking about right now. Was that? Yeah, okay, that was right now. Okay. I think you should look in the list view for dynamic capabilities of radio items. I think you can use a loop there. Oh, interesting. I think you should look into the list view for dynamic capabilities of radio items. Interesting. These image panels are super cool. Yeah, I think. Let me see here. Images. So these are basically just kind of like radio. This is like a radio type deal, but you can click different images, I guess. Actually, wait a second too. Are we? No, that's outside of that. And then that's dope. I love that's a concept. Dynamic tag. Oh, okay. All right, those are just all tags. Okay, I think what we're talking about though, I think the GREYD account said that that we're looking that's like next on the roadmap if we're talking about that. Okay, so that would be like my one main thing for like forms and stuff. There's a ton of other like dynamic things, but is this easy to use? Let's just think from the basic sense for a second. Name. So still can't see the drop downs. Text, email, phone number, link, number, time, date and time, month, week. Interesting. A week and month, date type. That's kind of cool. Field type, name or field name. I see. Yeah. Okay. That's still the variable. I think it would be a more streamlined experience if I could write the labels and stuff over here, but name or autofill, so name, first name, zip code, cool, like that. Required field, assistance, tool, I like a little tooltip. Tooltip is cool. That's cool. Minimum character length, maximum character length, multi-line for text input only. Okay. I think most places do like text. Well, text and text area, maybe not, but okay. Animation. Well, that's fun. Is that just like an entrance? Okay. That's on everything though, I guess, right? All right. Is there? I mean, I'm not the CSS master, but I'm just thinking about like styles and stuff. There's probably some global styles for these, I would assume. Maybe we go back to the other thing real quick. Let's go to GREYD theme real quick. Global styles. I'm sure it's probably not going to be here, obviously, right? It'll probably be here. Ah. Lovely. All right. So yeah, we could change the global styling of all that. Obviously use our things here. Still hate this thing down here. Secondary input. Can't think off the top of my head what a secondary input would be. Labels. Okay, I mean, I love that. If I was like building a form over here, would I know to go over there and do that? I mean, obviously I'd have to just... There's no way you can get that. You have to be in wherever the hell I am here. Do you have to be like in the site editor in order to have this pop up? Or you can't be here, I guess, obviously, because of the way this is all done. I'm sure that's a core. I'm sure that's a core thing. Global field styles, yeah. Got that. Cool. Okay. Let's see what other stuff we have. Multi-step container, fun. CAPTCHA. Okay, these are all So the cool thing that I do like about stuff in the block, like form builders in the block editor, the one cool part is that if you hate the block editor, then obviously it's tough. But if you understand what can happen here, like it's cool that you can add all this stuff into the experience and kind of have it all in a form. Like, I mean, I'm not sure if you'd always want to do that. You could probably just always put the form on a page that you create that has all that stuff. But I do like the opportunity, I guess, to kind of do that in certain cases. Cause like if if you wanted for some reason, right? Like this part is cool that not all form builders, I feel like, have the option to do. Could you do something like if for some reason I wanted to put like just a random image in here? That's really cool that you could do that. Again, this is grade available. This is obviously grade's possibility of doing this, but it's also like just form, form things in general. Like if I needed to put an iframe for some reason in the middle of my form, then I could do that. I like that concept because it does open up a lot of opportunities to do different things. I'm trying to think of anything else. There's conditional fields. I don't. It's probably a technical limitation. I don't know if I love the idea of having like a block for conditional fields, but it's probably the only way to do it. It would be cool if you could have it somewhere else, but I don't think it's probably a block editor limitation, which it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do. Like so, if I wanted to take this and put it in here, and then say for these, go over here. So real quick, what kind of relations do we have? We have ors or ands, or conditions are, I'll just read these. Name, so you select a field, obviously. So like name is not empty, contains, has, okay, the typical stuff, greater than, equal to, all that sort of stuff. Um, okay, typical relationship stuff. Or condition stuff. Okay, that's pretty good. And it's like a whole block in and of itself. Is there a way for me to view this? Um, oh, that's cool. That's like written there too. Kind of like that. So I don't like have to dive in there and remember it. Okay. Cool demo. Looks great. This guy. This guy. Um. Okay. Let me know, grade team, if you want me to look at anything else specifically. Anything else that would be like really helpful. Okay, that was weird. Weird core thing there. Patterns. Okay, a lot of patterns. Yeah, a lot of patterns. Like over almost 100 patterns for different things. Does it? I feel like I never saw all these patterns. I mean, I didn't go to this page, but I feel like I never saw it like you know, in an example of when I was doing the different stuff, which maybe was like different types of patterns. But I kind of want to like, know that. Yeah. So, okay. Let's see what else we got here. Templates. Okay, so these are all obviously predefined kind of when we build it. Yeah, I don't really want to necessarily spend any more time on that type of stuff because that's not really helpful. Again, there's not really stuff that grade can do in that realm. This surveys is interesting. Stats is also interesting, like built-in stats for the forms. There's probably a way to make so entries are like submissions effectively. Is there any interesting settings here? Different things. I'm gonna go down this theme assets, and I do want to go back here for a moment. Dynamic templates, dynamic post types, grade pop-ups, site connector, template editor. Talked about all that. Template library, advanced search. Didn't get a chance to look at that. That seems kind of cool. And then user management. Also, yeah, I got to check this out for a second. Roles, links. Oh, wow. This is kind of cool. Damn, this is actually really cool. There's a lot of like things you can change in here that like you wouldn't need other plugins for. It's like small little things like this though. Like just team has thought about a lot of different things. So I like this login, log out, register, password, like that. There's other things you wouldn't have to do because you did that. Enable SMTP for PHP mailer. What does that do? Oh, okay. So you can kind of set that up right in there too. That's lovely. That's another plugin you don't need. Oh, you can change all these. I mean, this is dope. Dope. Okay. I was gonna say, is there any like craziness where could you create like a? Oh wow. Okay. This is another plugin you don't need. Although the trouble with all this is like if you don't know what you're doing here, which I barely know what I'm doing, is like there's a lot of things that like do they have access to this? Like if you wanted to create, you'd probably have to clone another role that's close, so to speak, and then do that. But that's cool. That's another plugin that's not needed because of that. The global content. I'm assuming these are just the same types of things that we're doing. Deactivate this option. Posts on every connection will appear in the search results. That's really cool as well. I don't know if that's in like just the top tier one or whatever, but you can search on all of your sites. Let me see real quick. Okay, so you can't create anything from here, but if you go over to like, I don't know, one of these or something, and can you like save something? Not exactly sure how you save as dynamic or global content, but interesting. Pop-ups. I'm gonna assume pop-ups is just another. Love that. Just another way to do it, kind of in the editor. Oh, you can copy one if you already have one. Okay. Anything else here? What was I doing here? To get a preview of a form, just put the form into a page. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Global content is a whole other thing for another 2-hour live stream. Okay. All right. We will not touch that right now then. All right. So advanced search. I think this is also dope. I think we need to have more data and stuff like that in this, but live search would be super cool. Okay. Well, I think we did a reasonable amount of stuff here. Hang on, let me ban this chat, this live stream, or this Twitch chat. Yeah, okay, I think we covered a lot here. I'm hoping this was at least relatively usable feedback. I know we kind of got into the weeds on some of the things, but I feel like there were a lot of different areas that we had to cover, and I think I did my best in 2 hours. So hopefully you guys were entertained. Those not on the GREYD team, hopefully you saw some things that were interesting. If you also want to share this link, if you're interested in GREYD and you're using it, go over to this link that the team gave me. You can sign up for like updates and be a part of like kind of the whole process in general. I know they would very much appreciate that. I think on the whole, I mean, again, it's like what I said at the top. There's a million and one things I feel like that GREYD does, and there's like, I mean, just looking at this features page, there's so many things, and there's a mixture of like core stuff in there because it's literally built a top core, and then there's a mixture of like extra things that are leveraged core and like outside of it, like custom post types and stuff, and I think that there's a lot of continued room for more enhanced usability and UI upgrades and things. And obviously they know that, and that's their big goal for this year. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that the GREYD team got something out of it, and we'll definitely revisit all of this as it continues to evolve. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate GREYD for partnering up and us doing this. And I'm looking forward to the evolution of GREYD because it's super dope. So thank you guys very much for watching, and we will talk to you in the next one. See ya.